Hey, look, you know what's crazy? Almost everything you stressed about last year, you got through that shit. No, for real. Look back. Not even in some not even in some big dramatic way. You kept going. And I don't know if anyone, told you that or if you felt like you needed a pat on the back, but I know you're proud that now all of that is behind you. And I don't think we ever stop to actually sit down and realize that and be grateful for it. Because when you're in it, it feels like everything, like this one moment, this one problem, this one issue, situation, whatever it be, is going to define everything for you. And I remember feeling like that so many times. Like I'd be sitting there thinking, if this doesn't work out, if this goes wrong, then what? Then what? In your mind, it starts going in circles, a bunch of what ifs, worst case scenarios, overthinking every freaking detail, trying, to control something that hasn't even happened yet. And it feels real. All that in your head feels real. Like really real. But then as time goes on, time passes, something begins to happen. You figure something out. You begin to adjust. Somehow, some way, you got through it. Not perfectly, not maybe all how you planned, but you made it to the other side. And now you're sitting there like, what was I even stressing on that? And I'm not even saying like not to downplay what you had to go through, because in those moments, I'm sure everything felt heavy. It always feels heavy. It does, because it feels real. Feels like a lot. It's a lot to handle mentally. But I think what is forgotten is we've already proven to ourselves time and time again we can handle more than what we think. Like, if you really look back, think about everything you've already made it through. Situations you thought would break you, moments you didn't even think you'd be able to recover from, days where you didn't even feel like yourself, or maybe you didn't even want to be here anymore. And somehow, you're still here. You're still moving, still thinking, still trying. That means a lot. And it's not by luck. That's all on you. You did that. You got through this. And yeah, you could have had some help. Still, you did that. And I think we're always so quick to stress about what might happen that we forget why we've already survived. And I've caught myself doing that recently, getting caught up in what could go wrong instead of remembering I've been here before. It might not be the same exact situation, but that same feeling, the pressure, the same uncertainty. And every single time, I figured something out. Maybe not the way that I wanted it to be figured out. Maybe it didn't end up how I had planned, but I learned something. I was able to adjust. I grew from it, and I moved forward. And that's the part I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit for, because we're always looking ahead, and sometimes we're looking too far ahead, always thinking about what's next, always worried about the outcome, instead of realizing you're already becoming someone stronger just by having to go through what you're going through, even if the outcome isn't what you wanted to have to go through. Because not everything is going to go your way. That's life. That's just real. But every time something doesn't work out, you take something from it, even if you don't realize it right away. You learn what not to do. You learn, what matters. You learn who matters. You learn more about yourself, and that builds something in you. So it's kind of like, what are you really losing? Because when things don't go how we plan, I mean, we're not leaving empty handed. I think that's where giving yourself grace comes in at. Because we're always so hard on ourselves, so quick, like to judge ourselves, so quick to feel like we should have done better, should have known better, I could have been better. Yeah, all of those may be true, but you were doing the best that you could with what you knew at the time. And I like to think that that counts for something. Like, sit down with that, give yourself some grace. You made decisions based on where you were at mentally, emotionally, and situationally. Is that a word? And now you know more. You've grown. You're wiser. But that doesn't mean you failed. Again, it means you grew. And growth doesn't always feel good, unfortunately. Like, sometimes it feels a lot of like confusion. Sometimes it feels like stress. Sometimes it feels like everything is freaking falling apart. But that doesn't mean that it is, even if it feels that way. It might just mean things are starting to shift around you. And maybe you're just in the middle of it, like a whirlwind. And the middle of anything always feels messy. You don't have, clarity on the situation yet because you haven't made it to the other side. You don't have the full picture of what the full outcome is going to be. You don't know how it's going to turn out. So of course, it's scary. It feels uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean what's going on or what's happening has to be wrong, has to be stressful. And I think if we just remind ourselves of that, a little bit more on a daily basis, at least a few times a week, we'd move through life a little lighter. Not because things are easier, but because you learn how to trust yourself more through these processes. We just trust that no matter what happens, we're going to figure it out. Because we always do, don't we? Every freaking time. And maybe that's the part you need to hear right now. Whatever you're stressing about, whatever you're overthinking, whatever feels heavy on your heart right now, you're going to get through it. And you know that you are. You might not see how you're going to get through it yet. You might not feel like you're ready, to overcome or get through it, but you're going to get through it. Just like you always have. And when you look back on this moment, once it's all over, it's going to make sense in a way it doesn't right now. That's how it always goes. So maybe instead of trying to control, the outcome, maybe you just give yourself a little bit more grace. Let yourself be in the process. Let yourself know that it's okay not to have all the answers. Let yourself learn as you go. Because that's what you've been doing this whole entire time. And it's been working. So why stop now? Feeling this way always brings me back to the story I used to hear as a kid about the person who kept climbing a mountain but couldn't see, the top. Have you ever heard that story? Every step felt the same. Heavy, torture, slow, uncertain. And at some point, they started questioning if they were ever going to reach the top, if they were even going the right direction. Like, what if I've been doing all this for nothing? What if I'm not actually getting anywhere? And the whole time, they couldn't even see. They couldn't see that they were already higher than they were when they started. And that's because when we're in it, we don't always feel the progress. We just feel the effort, the tiredness of it all, the repetition of all that tiredness. But one day, what happens? We turn around and we realize things have changed. And we're able to see how far we've actually come, the distance, the growth, the ground that we don't even walk on anymore, all that stress. That's when we start understanding mentally. It was never about reaching the top as fast as possible. It's always about becoming the kind of person who can keep climbing even when you can't see the end. Having that faith. And I think that's where a lot of us are right now, right there in the middle, climbing, questioning, growing, trying to make sense of something that doesn't fully make sense yet. But we're still moving, and that matters more than you think. Because one day, you're going to look back at this version of yourself and realize you didn't stop. You didn't give up. You kept going, even when you didn't feel sure about all this. And that's what you got through. Not perfection, not having all the answers. You got through becoming a better version of you. And now you're better. And if you made it this far, and you've been listening this whole time, then you already know. You felt this before. And you made it through. And you're gonna do it again. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll sit with you in the next one. Peace.